Demna has been announced as the creative director of Gucci, which did come as a shock to a lot of people, including me, because I wasn't really expecting that. There are many people that I did think were in the running for the Gucci job, but Demna definitely wasn't one of those, because Demna is someone that we kind of view as cemented at Balenciaga. But the more you consider it, the more it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, Gucci is significantly bigger than Balenciaga, like it's not even close. And so of course there's the money aspect to it, like he's probably going to be paid way more than he is at Balenciaga. But I wonder how he's going to deal with that pressure. I said before, I reviewed his most recent Balenciaga collection. I wasn't the biggest fan of his last collection. I think he is kind of running out of ideas, and I'm wondering how exactly he can find his spark at Gucci, especially when it's a brand that is in absolute turmoil. And that is the brand that really leads to whether Kering has a good financial year or not. That is so much pressure when he could have just, he could have just been at Balenciaga having a fun time creating the dark clothes and just get away with it, to be honest. He could have just done that and gotten away with it. So I don't know why he did that. But anyway, let's read the statement on the Kering website. Of course, like they said, Demna appointed artistic director of Gucci. It says, Kering and Gucci are delighted to announce the appointment of Demna as the house's new artistic director starting early July 2025. Demna, artistic director since 2015, has redefined modern luxury, earning global recognition and cementing his authority on the industry. François-Henri Pinault, chairman and CEO of Kering, stated, Demna's contribution to the industry, to Balenciaga, and to the group's success has been tremendous. His creative power is exactly what Gucci needs, as I thank him for everything he has accomplished over the past 10 years. I look forward to seeing him shape Gucci's new artistic direction. Francesca Bellatani, Kering Deputy CEO in charge of brand development, said, Demna's profound understanding of contemporary culture, coupled with his extensive experience in conceiving visionary projects, has established him as one of the most influential and accomplished creatives of his generation. His appointment as artistic director is the perfect catalyst to reignite Gucci's creative energy. I look forward to the collaboration of Demna and Stefano as they lead Gucci into a new era of success. And Stefano, who of course is the CEO of Gucci, said, I have always admired Demna's creative approach that is both unique and powerful. His ability to honor the iconic legacy of a brand while embracing a modern sensibility is extraordinary. With Gucci's strengthened foundations as a springboard, Demna will lead the house towards renewed fashion authority and enduring cultural relevance. Let's see what the last statement, which is a statement from Demna. So what Demna said, I'm truly excited to join the Gucci family. It is an honor to contribute to a house I deeply respect and have long admired. I look forward to writing together with Stefano and the whole team a new chapter of Gucci's amazing story. Interesting. So like I said, if we just have a quick glance at the financial reports, because I say this all the time, and I think I always have to like beat this point into the ground because people don't understand how much bigger Gucci is than Balenciaga. So if you look at the financial reports, these are from last year. These are the most recent reports, the 2024 financial reports. So Gucci made 7.6 billion euros in revenue. And the revenue that Gucci made is significantly more than the second biggest brand, which is Saint Laurent, which made 2.8 billion euros. And then Bottega made 1.7, and then all the other houses combined made 3.2. So all the other houses combined, including Balenciaga, by the way, didn't even make half of the revenue of Gucci. So it's a huge jump. Huge jump. And I'm just wondering if he can deal with that pressure, considering a lot of his collections have been uninspired. Also, for the people that want to know, because I've seen this kind of discussion point, people are asking, is he going to stay at Balenciaga? What's going to happen? Actually, it was announced by Kering that his last collection for Balenciaga will be on the 6th of July, which will be a couture collection. That should be interesting because I think one of the bright sparks of Demna's Balenciaga has actually been the couture collections, even when the ready-to-wear, in my opinion, has been wavering over the course of a few years. I think actually a bright spark has been the couture collections. And that's something that I definitely think I've personally enjoyed. I'm sure lots of people have enjoyed as well. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the financials. I mean, Demna did amazing at Balenciaga, to be honest. I mean, when you look at the Balenciaga sales, the sales quadrupled in his first 5 years at Balenciaga, which was insane. And I know the revenue of Balenciaga was 1.5 billion euros by 2021. So obviously he was someone that was successful. He's someone that sold crazy amounts of garments. He was selling triple S's and sock sneakers and bags and all sorts of stuff, right? The only problem is, as much as he sells clothing and ready to wear, at Gucci, you have to have a bigger objective. You have to have a bigger objective because at Gucci, they make so much money. You're not going to make that money selling ready to wear. You have to sell like bags and stuff. So that whole Balenciaga strategy won't work. Also, guys in the chat, what do you guys think in terms of what direction aesthetically do you think he's going to go in? Because of course we are very well aware of where Gucci has gone. The reason why Alessandro Michele left in the first place is because they wanted to go in a different direction, kind of wanted to go back to Tom Ford kind of styles, more minimal, more in line with quite luxury, which is why Alessandro Michele parted ways, obviously ended up at Valentino. We then had Sabato De Sarno who went there. Sabato was kind of like the guy that they just got there who would just be their like yes man and just do what they say. And obviously that strategy didn't work because the clothing was very uninspired. Some of the collections seemed like they were really chasing trends. I'll show you guys some stuff on Vogue Runway, actually. It almost seemed like the Gucci didn't really have its own identity, to be honest. Also, financially, to me, it just made no sense. If you're making a certain amount of money with Alessandro Michele at the helm, and then you do a complete 180 to that aesthetic, why would you assume that you're going to keep all those customers that were buying clothing that was a completely different aesthetic and build upon it? Because these brands just expect that they can keep building forever. It was so weird, so strange, so strange. I want to show you, because there's this collection that really illustrates it. This Resort 25 collection was when I was like, yeah, Gucci literally has no identity. They're just following every single trend. So ballet flats were all the rage at this point, mainly because of Miu Miu, Alaya, and then Chanel to an extent. And then, of course, what did Gucci do? They made their horsebit versions. Now, ideally, them making different iterations of horsebit shoes isn't questionable, but it's questionable when that's the trending thing. And normally, at least when I first got into fashion, brands had their own identity and they would set trends based on what their own unique identity is. But this just seemed like, just chasing every single trend, like every trend under the sun. It's like, how can we fit into that and try and sell some garments based on what the trend is currently? Even when you look at what the team design, the studio team design, a lot of it looks like Prada. In the most recent Gucci collection, it looks very, very much like Prada. So it's really, really odd. I just hope it's not even more logo centric. I hope so too. I posted a joke on my Instagram, right, where I was saying that, can you imagine like the Kim Kardashian tape dress, but just a Gucci version instead? Like, imagine Demna starts doing all those like gimmicky, like these kind of things, these sort of gimmicky things at Gucci. I just don't know if it would work. I just don't know. Gucci McDonald's fried bag. That's hilarious. Oh my. Can you distinguish between the difference between artistic director and creative director? Seeing a lot of overlap between titles. I think it just depends on the brand, because so many different brands have like the same names for things and they're not actually the same role. So like, for example, some creative directors at brands, they are responsible for doing all of the fashion design, but also doing the marketing and also doing other things. And then some creative directors, it's purely fashion design. So I think it really depends on what brand, to be honest. So there's no like one size fits all. There's no like industry standard at every brand. If you're an artistic director, these are specifically what your role entails. This is like specifically what it entails, to be honest. So yeah, yes, I did say he's presenting a last couture collection. He is. So that's the last we'll see of Demna, which I do think is a good thing, because I think that we haven't gotten a farewell from a lot of designers. A lot of designers didn't get a farewell. They just kind of leave a brand kind of just randomly. The last really good farewell I can think of is Sarah Burton. When she was leaving McQueen, there was like, everyone knew when her last show was. It was quite emotional. People were crying at the show. So yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Where did they speak on that? So Kering, executives from Kering actually told like a small set of fashion media that would be his last show. They also kind of alluded to it in their press release. So I'll go back to the press release once again. So in a press release, they talked about how Demna is starting his role early July. So he's actually starting his role at Gucci just as he finishes his role at Balenciaga after the last couture collection. So that's why when you read like Women's Wear Daily, BOF, they talk about the last show being on the 6th of July. And I even think in BOF, actually, they specifically stated that Kering spoke to like a select group of the fashion media and told them that. So yeah, that's where it comes from. That's where the information comes from. I wonder who would take over Balenciaga. I've heard Sommelier. That's kind of like, I've also heard Daniel Roseberry. So those seem to be like the front runners for the Balenciaga brand. To be honest, I'm very ready to see a different aesthetic at Balenciaga at this point. I'm extremely ready for a different aesthetic at Balenciaga. Hello, Dami. How are you?
Hello. Dichi here. What's good?
What
Well,
first reaction to this bombshell of news?
I still don't have a true reaction, to be fair. I'm just kind of existing in the moment, but I did have a couple of thoughts that are ruminating now. So, yeah,
Mm,
no, I do think it's a positive move, though,
yeah.
because they did need a dramatic shift. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're desperate. It's kind of funny. Like I said, I think Kering has learned their lesson though. It's like we went away from Alessandro, who's a big name and really influential, because we thought that we could achieve more going with a designer that we can control, and they've realized that. And we talk about this all the time, Dummy, that the men in suit are not creatives, and the quicker they realize that, the better. Like if you think as a man in a suit that you're gonna steer the creative ship and tell a creative director what to do and it's going to work, you're clearly confused. So I think they've learned their lesson with that, and now they're hiring someone who obviously is a big name but also has a strong design identity, and they're going to allow him do a lot more things that he wants at Gucci, rather than being like, can you make it look like Tom Ford, please? And kind of mix it with quite luxury. But also, we saw that ballerina, flats trend. So can you add a ballet flat, but also add a horse bit? Because, that's part of our heritage. Like, that doesn't work.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of trouble going on at Gucci, and as soon as it started, like and I think I remember there and about the first live that we did where it was Sabaton, and I was like, I was trying to not like jump, like put the cart before the horse and everything like that, but at the same time, it's like the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall before the
Yeah.
end of the year, and then yeah, no, and the financial reports came out. We were anticipating that. And then the call happened and they said, yo, we're going to do something about this. I said it's going to be dramatic. You're going to see some shifts, but don't worry because we have this under control. And, that financial call, I think you went to the financial statements. That's the last thing I saw you do.
Yeah. I can
But
put them
yeah,
back on the screen. Yeah.
yeah,
Let me
but
zoom in so it's easier for people to see, actually.
but that
So you
told
guys
that
can
told a
see.
lot of I'm gonna full screen. That told a lot of things that we needed, but at the same time, I said we. I needed to see this honestly, but then at the same time, it's like Balenciaga is completely eclipsed by Gucci. It's not
Completely is an
even close.
understatement. It's just
Yeah.
not even.
And so anyone that's making Gucci falter, you're the problem. Even if it was the suits in the back, it's like all of you guys here, you're fired. You're
Yeah.
done. What does Kai say? You're done. He's
Bro,
like, yeah, no.
Sabato, during Sabato's time, he had 3 different CEOs.
Bro, this the
Like,
problem.
that
Like
brand is in turmoil.
literally the musical chairs. Like I remember I had fatigue from reading all of the articles because I was seeing a new person move around Karen, shift, and I was just tired. But I do think that one thing that Demna will do, I can say for sure, is bring stability to Gucci. Not to say in terms of design wise, but because people understand that he's a very, very big and trustworthy designer in terms of sales, that they'll value him being there rather than, some new person that they don't know, or someone that's like, I don't want to say they're easily controlled, but easily swayed, or they can sway by someone else's opinion without having a true vision. Do you know what I mean? And in saying that, Demna, his last shot will be in July, which means that he's got like a whole runway. He's got like almost a year's worth of runway, because that show should have been finished from
Yeah.
like October time, anyways.
Yeah, they would have
So
been working on it because it's
yeah,
very soon.
exactly. And it's couture, you know what I'm saying? So in reality, he's got like not reality, but like in fashion terms, he's got a year to think of something, come up with concepts, and talk to the higher ups about it and say, yo, this is the vision.
Yeah, it feels like Demna going to Gucci was the safest choice. Yeah, because it is actually quite simplistic, because you think about it, they're like, what designer under our stable has been making a lot of money for a brand that we trust and we know how he works. Demna, make him the creative director of our biggest brand. It's quite simplistic when you think about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was very safe. It is very
You
safe.
know what's interesting? I feel like this is the most stable move in terms of creative directorships that's happened in a long, long time. Like,
Yeah.
as in people like what's it? Pharrell came to LV, he went to Chanel, like, people that in quotes aren't proven are at major, major places, but Demna being
I mean, Matteo Blasi is definitely proven. Pharrell definitely wasn't like to the level of LV, but
Chanel's one of the biggest luxury houses in the world beside Hermes. So
I mean,
proven to a particular level.
the top three in fashion are Hermes, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton. To be fair, like
Yeah.
money wise, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, like not
Yeah,
proven in terms of design wise, of course, but I'm saying like in terms of like the money of
the
the jumping over.
scale,
But
right?
yeah, but Demna going to Gucci, it's kind of one of those simple moves that even though it's not simple, it sounds simple on paper, but it brings value to especially when they're in turmoil. Like everyone's trying to put out fires everywhere. And what's it?
Yeah.
I think I read they were closing some stores. Maybe my account was wrong.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah.
So part of Gucci's strategy, I talked about this when I talked about Kering's financial report because I watched the whole presentation. They are really adamant on making Gucci less accessible, not less accessible to buy, but just not being in the wrong markets and kind of watering down the brand perception, which is why they're going away from like using different retailers and wholesaling and everything. They're bringing it all in house. That's reflected not just in the clothing, but that's why they launched Kering Beauty, for example. Even this year, actually, they're launching the first Balenciaga fragrance under the Kering Beauty umbrella. So clearly, they're like trying to bring everything in house. They're trying to vertically integrate things. They're trying to have a stronger hold of all the things that they are creating. So I think it's just in line with that, to be honest. Like that's why they're closing certain stores down because they're not seen as like strategic enough, and that's kind of where they're going with it.
And I've had a couple thoughts. I want to know what you think though, design wise, the direction that Demna may possibly take.
Do you know what's funny? I think, and someone alluded to this in the chat, and I totally agree. Right? It's at the end of the day, Gucci is not really a fashion house. Like if you think of the history of Gucci, Gucci or Gucci, Aldo Gucci, what did they make outside of like leather goods? Like Aldo Gucci, maybe like the loafers, like a few things here and there, like the monogram. It's not a couture house. Whereas, like when we think of Balenciaga, we think of Cristobal Balenciaga. There's a certain expectation in terms of clothing design skill and skill of tailoring, skill of fabric like garment construction, skill of sculpting around the body, because that's what we associate with Cristobal Balenciaga. So if anything, from a fashion perspective, you have more freedom at Gucci. I still don't think Gucci has any house codes, whereas at Balenciaga there are loads of house codes. Like at Balenciaga, people talk about things like the cocoon shapes. You know what I mean? So it's like Gucci, even though some people would say that, well, Tom Ford is those are the codes, but not really, because Gucci has been successful with completely different aesthetics. You think of Alessandro Michele, completely different to Tom Ford. And then even people in between, like Frida Giannini, for example, was kind of like a blend in between them. And that was not as successful as Tom Ford or Alessandro Michele, but it still wasn't like crazy bad, right? So to me, it's the kind of brand that you can actually do anything and get away with it because there are no codes. So if anything, Demna has, a lot more freedom to create or design whatever he wants and just kind of try to make that his Gucci aesthetic. However, what I want to know is he going to do the whole like gothic ironic thing at Gucci still? Do you reckon he's going to just take that to Gucci? Or do you reckon he's going to, because obviously in the past he's worked at Margiela, which he obviously references a lot from Vetements Times. At Balenciaga, the amount of Margiela references is like crazy at this point. But also he worked at Louis Vuitton, right? So he still has like an LV bag, a different kind of Margiela bag that he could bring to Gucci. So that's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah, I think partially he's dug so deep into this bag. He invented so many languages or so many words in the language that is what we see now in today's lexicon of design and style and fashion, right? That him doing it again, especially with this last collection that we saw, is like almost him referencing himself in a way. And it's past the point of, it's post ironic and more so kind of overdone at this point. It's not as cute as it used to be. So I want him to honestly say to himself, yo, I'm gonna close this chapter now and I'm
Yeah.
gonna go back into, or go to a more fun place, if that's the word, or even just explore different philosophies. How about that? Not even like just explore different philosophies, because I think he's great enough of a designer to actually do that.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people were listening to him, and not listening to him, sorry, but seeing the collection and seeing the news and being like, I don't think he can do that. I'm like, this guy is one of the best dressmakers that are out there today. It's just that he was making hoodies at Balenciaga that were kind of being thrown off at
Yeah.
his level of skill that he actually has. And if he doesn't have to worry so much about, yo, this is Cristobal Balenciaga's house, I think he could do quite well with a new philosophy, a new train of thought, and all of these other things. But I saw your meme from earlier with the Kim Kardashian thing. So do you think we're gonna get a triple L?
Mickey,
Yeah.
sauce bit loafer. Oh my god, no, I don't think so. The thing with Demna is that, like, even though I do give him a hard time sometimes because I think the recent collections have been atrocities, especially that LA collection. I literally want to remove that from my brain. But
No, that one.
that being said, he's an amazing designer. Like, he's super skilled. Like, if you look at the early Balenciaga collections, it's so clear that he's skilled. You look at some of the couture collections, he's really skilled. That in the couture collections, I've kind of talked about this in past reviews. There are aspects that I'm not the biggest fan of, you know, the kind of talking about a commentary on waist. So you just tie all these like pieces together and make it into a dress. I'm just not really the biggest fan of that. But I understand like the commentary he's trying to make. And he thought it was valid. It's his show. Fair enough. However, I'm just not the biggest fan of, you know, stuff like that, to be very honest with you. But he's skilled. Like, it's so obvious. So if he just gets rid of this like gimmicky thing and just makes really good accessories, I think he's onto a winner. Someone in the chat was asking, has Demna designed any really like big, like well sold bags at Balenciaga? The bag I can think of off the top of my head is the Rodeo bag.
Yeah.
The Rodeo bag sells like hotcake. And that was a Demna era bag. Obviously, he brought back different other era bags. Like, he brought back the Le City bag, which was obviously, that's Nicolas Guesquière era. That's doing well, but you can't give him credit because he's bringing back a bag he didn't design. But yeah, the Rodeo bag is really his saving grace.
That
However,
hourglass bag.
oh yeah, true. But what I will say though is that he has to do more of that at Gucci, because once again, Gucci is not really like known as a clothing brand. It's like, it's a leather goods brand. It's like Gucci it sells ready to wear, I guess, but it's not the same compared to like the bags. Loads of people buy Gucci bags. That's where a lot of their money comes from, outside of like, you know, other things like other accessories. Do you remember when loads of people were buying like Gucci belts and stuff like that?
Yep.
When that was like,
You just
that was like
yeah.
the thing, right? People are
Wait.
tucking their shirts into their Gucci bags, Gucci belts and stuff, tucking their shirts into their trousers so you can see the Gucci belt. What a time to be alive.
Oh my.
What a time to be alive.
Bro, wait. Okay, I think that we're almost prisoners of the terrible era, or should I say post-scandal era Demna, and like forgetting the way that he actually came in. Like, we spoke about the Triple S, biker bag, you know,
sneakers.
Yeah, like, he came in with products. Like, the reason he caught on in Balenciaga was mainly because of the product that he created, and then, you know, that came with the lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? So
the Bernie Sanders stuff, like all that stuff was.
Yeah. So
let me whip that stuff on the screen as we talk about
it came with a message. And then one thing that really has shown me as the years go on is that even though him and Goran had the same, let's say, sort of philosophy, his guiding principles were the reason Vetements was defined and elevated the way that it was.
Yeah, him, and obviously a combination of a lot of other people like Lotta Volkova and like other people that really made it tick. And the issue is, like, you remove Demna from that, you remove Lotta from that, and you're left with nothing. Which is why Guram, to be honest, I don't even know what he was doing there. I feel like Guram at Vetements is literally a meme brand, genuinely. He's almost turned the brand into a meme.
And this the thing, like these memes, like they are part and parcel of the new way that we get what Tom Ford is, in a way. Now, walk with me now. Tom Ford was the zeitgeist, essentially. He knew the
100%.
heart and minds of, you know, the people in the. We had this conversation last time, but just to rehash small portions of it for people that didn't hear it. But he was the moment in the 90s, right? And obviously Demna had his moment in the 2010s, like while watching some of the moments that he had, but he invented, or I think invented is a strong word, but he, you know, spearheaded a lot of strong moments and movements of, you know, the 2010s, right? If he has a second act in him, and I just want to trust in his design acumen and his, you know, mind for a second, I do believe he can create that moment again with, you know, in quotes, memes that, you know, same way that Tom Ford would have done with Gucci, and to create like just great memes, create great sunglasses and create great bags and then create great shoes and then have a lifestyle that accommodates that, or should I say more clothing that accommodates that, right? Because he had the triple S, and the triple S, like even with this outfit, it stands out on this outfit, but then you're having commentary there around it. And now we have all of, you know, our, I don't know about your rich friends, but all of our rich friends as well, they dress like they're homeless or they come from ends. Like, I remember when there was a moment where they did it, like, they were wearing bubble jackets or like puffer jackets. And I was like, bro, are you trying, like, or sis? Because it was mainly the girls. I was like, you're wearing jeans, but your jeans are Celine. your jacket is Balenciaga.
I know where you're going with this.
You're trying to dress like man, but you know, so I think like if he has a second act in him, that
he's also been the reason for like so many trends. I remember early like 2015, 16, 17. A lot of people used to, when we used to talk about things like normcore, I feel like Demna was at the forefront of it because it was very much like shirts, tie, trouser with like sneakers and like all that. So he was very much at the forefront of the normcore aesthetic, even though there are other brands too. So he's even spearheaded like certain trends in fashion too.
Yeah, so it's like I believe in him in that aspect, right? If he activates a part of his mind that can forget Balenciaga and the way he was speaking at Balenciaga, as in like the subtle little things that he was doing, like, you know, he's always gonna have a hoodie, he's always gonna have like an obscure dress there, he's always like, so those are little things, and then say, okay, I'm just gonna act differently at Gucci.
Right.
I believe that he can create values again that are different, because when you're at like his age now, this is when creative directors really get into their bag.
This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.